on my brow, I'm down on one knee. Another day in the life of a seed, humming my song while I'm planting these trees.
Following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled, or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet. www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com. On Facebook, CTCP Society. Or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
What are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
It's easy feeling as long as you came. Baby, get by a minute into force. Oh, I didn't notice it's talking forward. But only when Gavin back, yes, I done got you.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me, Tamarijuana. Hope you're all having a great week. We've been having some rain and such going on out here, and we're gearing up for the Sam Steele Days this weekend. Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners has got a parade, or a float, I guess, my car, going in the parade. So we've been steadily working and busily working on flowers and stuff, and getting ready for the Sam Steele Days. It's quite a little gathering around here. It's like a festival like every little town has, and we've got Smash Mouth coming out to play, and electric bands coming out, and all kinds of wiener dog races and all kinds of stuff. So if you can make it out to Cranbrook this weekend and join us at the Sam Steele Days, it would be great. My guest this morning really doesn't need much introduction. Mick has done guerrilla growing and activism and you name it for the last 20 years, if not more. He's been on Lifestyle Pot TV. He's had his own show. He's been from Vancouver to Toronto. Welcome, Mick Mann. Good morning, Mick.
Hey. Good morning, Tamara. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to have you on the show because, like I said, I don't even know where to start with you. You've been busy.
Yeah, I've been in this game a long time.
Yeah, you sure have. And I I still look at my trash Stephen Harper's bumper sticker on my car and think of you almost every day. That was one of the most epic things ever, was the bumper stickers with Stephen Harper trash underneath it. Never mind the fuck Harper t-shirts and all the stuff that during the conservative regime that we did.
The dark years.
The dark years, yeah. So you started growing, what year, 1970?
Well, yeah, probably mid-70s, I would think. Like, probably around 1976, 1975, 1976, when I first started growing marijuana.
And that brought you lots of joy, I imagine, and never mind the fact that it also brought you into this gong show we call the cannabis movement.
Yeah, well, it was an off and on thing that sort of I didn't take very seriously for probably another 10 years. But once I actually grew out my first crop successfully, there was no looking back. That was really free, empowering and freeing, and allowed me to pursue just about anything I wanted after that.
Yeah, the plant really does give back in so many ways.
Yeah, my path has just gone nothing but up ever since I started get involved with cannabis.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's what,
it's up and down. It's a hard road. There's no question, but it's been very positive.
that's right. And you've been guerrilla growing and successful at that for many years. And then you actually quit a few years ago and decided not to grow anymore, which was kind of disheartening for all of us.
Retired.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't quit. I retired.
You retired, yes. Which was a hard pill for a lot of us because you're Burmese, let me tell you. We were at the Prairie Cup that year and Mick had the Burmese. And let me tell you, people, that was amazing. One of the best smoke I've ever had in my life. And never mind, there's, other strains, out there, but the Burmese was, epic.
It took second place in the hybrid division.
It did. And it was just, like I said, it was something I'd never tasted before. But again, you've progressively, I guess, mastered, growing over the years. So what would you advise other people to do, like when they're getting started? Because I know a lot of people now with this new proposed for plant growing, we won't even, how I feel about that.
Right.
But, the proposal, how do you suggest to people, like, what do you suggest they do? Like, do you go and get 4 seeds? Do you go and try 4 clones? What are your suggestions for the first time starters?
Well, I would say that for first timers, one of the simplest things to do is to grow out some auto-flowering plants, just because of the simplicity of it. But there's no shortage of information on how to grow good marijuana. There's countless numbers of books. There's tons of information on the internet. I mean, and videos on YouTube. There's literally no excuse for somebody who's interested in growing marijuana to sit there and say, gee, I don't know what to do. There's a plethora of information. There's countless books, articles, like I say, videos. It's so I would tell people to sit down and watch these things. But an interesting point, a lot of people talk about getting into marijuana growing now. I pretty much get asked almost every day somebody about, they know somebody or they're interested or somebody's interested in, how do I become an LP? How do I get into the game?
Yeah.
The only problem I have with that is everybody is talking about the money.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about the plants. And this is what bothers me. The focus is all on the dollar. When I got into growing marijuana, my goal was to grow the best marijuana possible.
Right.
I didn't start growing thinking I'm going to make $1 million or I'm going to support myself. I thought I'm just going to supplement my income and get the best pot possible, and I'm going to grow it. It's no different than someone saying, I'm going to grow all my own food, because that's their goal. You want to be self-sufficient in something that you're using and not relying on a corporation or a business to have to buy it.
Yeah, I agree. Like that was one of my biggest things yesterday.
That's the problem I have now with a lot of with this entire system is it's, the LIFT conference, for instance, all these conferences, they're focused on the money. I'd like to see growers conference where all they did was talk about plants.
Yeah.
You don't see those ever.
No, that's what I said yesterday was, every time I see another LP jump onto the TSX, I feel like more of a dollar sign. Because, and you're seeing people that we worked with 10 years ago that were on our, in our activism community, side by side, fighting for law reform. And now where are they?
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with people, what they want to do. If you want to be an LP, fine. If you want to make $1 million, that's your business. But don't try to tell me that it's in my best interest that I have to shop here and follow these regulations that are basically designed with protectionism and in mind, and for people to make money and control things. And there's no talk at all about growing fantastic marijuana or breeding or any of these things, or the extracts, for instance, that people are going to grow for. And this is what's really, I find, saddening about this whole where the direction that this industry has gone.
Or the topping out of the THC levels. I think that's something else that's really bothersome to me, is that we've been striving towards getting genetics that have higher THC levels, which makes a nicer plant and overall a better, for medicine. And then them saying that they want to take the THC down to 8%. And I think many geneticists out there that have tried to strive to get a 23% THC level in their genetics, that's something that's really disheartening to me, that they want to drop. I mean, CBDs, of course, we know we want higher CBD levels for pain as well and for other afflictions, but you still need that THC level. And I think they're really fear-mongering with the fact that it's, like almost like, parallel to acid or something. You know what I mean? That it's, mind-altering and that we're going to, be hallucinating. And that's just not true. And they want to, drop that down. So what's your thoughts on that?
I'm taking that the government's approaching cannabis legalization in very much the same way they've approached alcohol legalization. Or not so much regulation. I should say regulation instead of legalization. And, like we have a limit on the amount of percentage, like, liquor can't be over 40% alcohol by volume. And not so much in this country, I think, but down in the United States, there's still a thriving moonshine culture.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people that say, I like booze that has a stronger alcohol content. In many cases, because people say they don't have to drink very much. They can just have a few shots, like a very little bit, and that's all they need. That it's another story, but there's still reefer madness is alive and well in the government. This is how they've justified having such strict regulations. I mean, you can justify anything if you just think long enough about it. So the reason and the strict regulations, they're not there to be for safety reasons at all. It's protectionism legislation.
Yeah.
They want to protect an industry. They want to control it. And you still have to be a little bit afraid so they discourage people from experimentation, from going outside of the rules.
Well, the difference too, though, with alcohol is that, you get a higher level percentage of alcohol, it can kill you. Where when you have a higher level of THC in cannabis, it's not going to kill you. So, that's something we really have to, like I had the joy of having the RCMP here last week and discussing, the fact that we were medical marijuana patients here, and he had the kind of nerve to say, well, if you didn't have this lifestyle. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, you're judgmental of stigma on the lifestyle issue.
It's still very judgmental. I mean, there was a conservative MP last week in the House of Commons that made a comment that they thought with 4 plants in the household that kids would get a hold of the marijuana and be smoking it in toaster ovens. I mean, these are the people that are sitting there discussing how we are supposed to adhere to a law. They have no clue about what is going on. And so that's a fact, and that's obvious. However, they do know how to control things and how to make laws. That's all they are good for. But in this case, clearly they don't know what they're talking about. But yet, this has been, they keep telling us they know what's best. They know what's best for people. They don't know anything.
It'd be interesting to, invite some of them and see if there any of them, to a cup per se. We were talking about cups and stuff and how we see the future of them changing. But, to have them come and join in on our community, like I've never seen one of them want to come out and say, hey, well, let's go see how these people actually, gather together and what kind of events they do have, and kind of like, even try and infiltrate if they could possibly do that. But nobody seems to even be interested in coming in.
See, here's the thing. People like that aren't on the same page, it's like the old expression, if I have to explain, you wouldn't understand anyways.
Right.
So if you're not already there, it's none of your damn business. And leave us alone. I don't want to associate with these people anymore. I am tired of, I've spent a lifetime of listening to these people, and nothing has ever changed. You're still dealing with this ignorance.
Yeah.
And this demonization. You either smoke pot and you get it, or you don't smoke pot and you don't get it.
Yeah,
or maybe you don't smoke pot and do get it. But if you don't smoke marijuana, you have no business deciding anything about people who do. And that's my personal opinion.
I agree with that. I totally
honestly,
agree with that.
And that's what it's come down to after almost, I'll be 60 next year. And really, I've had enough. I'm so fed up with talking to people and trying to convince people about this, that, and the other thing over such a benign, product. Something that is just, it's so every day in everyone's life now. And yet they still treat it as something special and oh my God, it's like, you're dealing with.
Yeah, like they're in shock. They're in shock that people smoke pot. You're like that. Exactly. Like I said, I've been involved for 10 years myself. And to have people actually still be in shock that people smoke pot. Like, what's there to be shocking? It's not shocking anymore.
Or people even if the people that seem to have some kind of problem with, what do you mean you smoke marijuana and drive a car?
Yeah, I know.
I just, even that alone in itself, I just look at them and go, for someone who smoked pot for 30 years, why are you surprised?
Oh, yeah, and how many accidents have you had?
And you're surprised that I can function, there's functioning alcoholics out there.
Yeah, but they couldn't drive. Like, they're
they do drive. They drive every day.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, true enough.
And they do well, and they don't get charged, but technically, they're doing the same thing, and there's functioning heroin addicts.
Yeah, true enough. Very true.
They're known as chippers.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you know what?
There's people out there doing crystal meth in positions of power.
Yeah, true enough. And I mean, that's the thing.
And you wouldn't even know they're doing it because they're not meth heads, but they're doing crystal meth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, functioning addiction is one thing, and there are people out there that do well, that can function on whatever substance that they are using.
There's functioning coffee addicts out there who are wired to the brains on way too much caffeine daily.
Yes. Yes. Very true. Watch them jittering down the street.
I'm probably one of them.
I was going to say, aren't we both one of them? Functioning coffee addicts?
Well, this is coffee and cannabis.
It is. Both functioning on both levels. Can do both at the same time and talk. And that's really, a challenge some days. But, overall, I think you're totally right. Like, there's so many different aspects to what people can use and can't use and actually function on it. And I think cannabis has been demonized so much that, like I said, well, if you change your lifestyle, maybe your husband could get a job working so-and-so. And I kind of just wanted to shake my head. Like, my husband functions quite well. He worked in the oil patch for many years with a cannabis marijuana license. Nobody ever said anything to him about it because he didn't use it during work hours. Like,
if it's not an issue, why should anyone say anything?
Well, exactly. And I find it really disheartening with all these, pre-employment drug testing and random drug testing and all these people that have to live in fear because they want to go home and smoke a joint rather than, go home and have a beer. And then they have to worry about losing their jobs. And, I'm hoping that within, the next 5 years, that kind of changes too. I know that the union out here, Tech's union, has them in court, at a Supreme Court fighting over the fact of pre-employment drug testing as an unconstitutional level. I'm not sure exactly where they're at because I think it's been in court now for 2.5 years, but I know that they are looking at taking that aspect out of the pre-employment just for safety. But again, the insurance companies, again, are another entity all on their own.
Now, personally, I think once they do legalize, if they get this legalized next year, that's an interesting concept. What you're talking about is, and that's, I think, going to really lead the way once things are legal in changing perception, because there's going to be so many challenges in just so many aspects of our life where this cannabis use is going to come up because, like I say, people are, a lot of people use it, and you're going to be more. I think people are going to be surprised, like, oh my God, you smoke? You smoke? Like, there's going to be a lot of, oh, I didn't know you smoked. And
I still get that too.
And people then it's going to come up as, oh, what happens in the workplace? What happens in the car? what happens if you've got children? All these things are going to be coming out. And I think what's going to happen is we're all going to be very surprised when they realize it's not a problem. And all the people who've been bitching and moaning really are full of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's what's really going to be beneficial to the cause, I think, is once it's legal, is all of the other little areas that are going to have their own little issues and problems, like the workplace is going to be a big one.
Right.
Because they're going to have to prove impairment.
We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll come back on that, the impairment, and then where we're going to go with, with children, for example, in the household with legalization. So we're going to go to a break. Tall Simply Business is our song. Again, I'd like to thank my sponsors, who are Chicks Magazine, Canadian Cannabis Society, MUM, Maritime for Medical Marijuana, the Haley Rose Foundation, Yanni Care, which is at Canamed CA, THC Girls, and The Hideaway, 420 Airbnb. We'll be right back. 420
Hi, it's Deb from BMA Hydroponics. Whatever you are growing, from vegetables to medicinal cannabis, we have everything you need to succeed. From seed to harvest to processing and extracting, we carry all the brand name products that will help you produce, process, and consume high-quality medicine. Our knowledgeable staff of qualified growers have decades of experience with home production, and all possess either MMAR injunction status or an ACMPR registration certificate. We offer the largest variety of products available anywhere, and if you don't see what you're looking for, just let us know and we'll find it for you. Visit our store at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, Ontario, or visit our website at bmahydroponics.com. We can be reached at 613-967-9888, Monday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/BMAHydro and drop us a line. At BMA, our motto is your success is our success.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
When Mark Emery can be free to run his business and sell his seeds, it's just a plant, it's just a weed. Another victim of corporate greed. It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business. We burn the oil and cut the trees, while the captains of industry, they run a big monopoly on everything but the birds and bees. It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business. Fiber, food and fuel. You heat it up, it makes you cool. Illegal brownies, oh my. It makes you laugh, but it makes me cry. It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business. It's a medicine for many ills. It's cheap and safer than all those pills. It's in the Bible, 1 Genesis 29. It's also simple, it repels the mind. It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business. All the wars in the world you see, they're shooting guns from a factory. It makes a job, but it makes no sense to give the peace when you can sell defense. It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business.
At least we got no dogs barking today.
Sorry?
No dogs barking today. Woohoo!
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay, I think we're back on the air. I'm thinking we might be. So we were talking over the. I think we are. We were talking a little bit over the break about Mick's big bike tour he was going to go on, but we were talking about other stuff. We're going to talk about this now for a minute. And I was telling him how excited I was, but he's postponed. So why don't you let everybody know what's going on with you and your bike tour?
Yeah, well, I had planned to ride my motorcycle across Canada and back this summer, coast to coast 150. Unfortunately, I've had to postpone that just because I'm in a bit of a financial reshuffle. And but I'm hoping to do it again, do it next year. So I just got to, again, reshuffle some finances because it is an expensive endeavor. I'm budgeting like $5,000-$6,000.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's an expensive trip, and that's on the cheap. So, next year I'll be 60. So I think maybe for my 60th, I'll do that.
That sounds like a really good trip. I know we talked about going out to Harvest Fest, and even we looked at plane fare, and it was like, you can fly cheaper to Mexico and back than you can across Canada. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, no, that's been a fact
for years, right? So then we thought, okay, we'll drive across, and then you figure that it's just it's not in my finances either.
So instead of taking the 5 weeks off this year as I wanted to, I'm only taking 2 weeks, and I'm doing a ride to the Kootenays. Toad Rock Motorcycle Campground, and then on to the Sycamore Stomp. And I belong to a riding club, the Canadian Motorcycle Cruisers, and we have our national rally in Coombs on the island the last weekend in July. So that's I'm doing a 2-week ride instead of a 5-week ride. But then there will be lots of photos and some video, though. So.
Well, that's exactly. I look forward to your photos and your videos of your touring around, because I live in the Kootenays too, and it's beautiful out here. But with the dogs and the cats and the chickens, I'm in the East Kootenay. Yeah,
we're going to the West Kootenays.
Yeah, and that's just that's on the other side of the lake, pretty much, because
across the mountain.
Yeah, and I get out there. I get out there every once in a while too. It's beautiful. This whole province, coming from the prairies. I love the prairies too. Don't get me wrong, but moving here and then, it's just mountain after mountain. After you hit the Rockies, it's just the Purcells and everything else. And this whole province is just absolutely gorgeous. The rest of the country is too. But I just love it here.
I heard you mention Sam Steele Days were coming up. You're in the parade. Congratulations.
We are in the parade. I kind of threw it out there to my board of directors, and they thought it was a good idea. But trying to get the fact that we're here and that we've got a clinic running, that I haven't signed any patients because of the fee, and I don't blame people. I don't like a fee put on anybody. I think it's ridiculous that I have to have a clinic. Let's put it that way. I'm willing to be here to help patients get to the ACMPR if they want to, and be able to grow their own medicine, because that's one thing we don't stipulate. You don't have to go to an LP. Our doctor doesn't say, okay, well, I'm with such and such licensed producer, and I'm only going to give you 3 grams, and you have to go to this licensed producer. We have the ability to let you grow your own, and then help you get set up and teach you if you need, and that's what my goals have always been, is to help as many people as I possibly could. But like I said, that fee, and like I said, I wish I could just not have that fee, and then I wouldn't have to have a clinic. But since I can, then I want to just get the name out there and try and help as many people as I can. So we thought a parade would be a good idea. It's lots of fun, and few people that I do have here that are helping me, which I want to thank every last one of them, because they were here yesterday. We made flowers. They'll be here today making flowers, and
yeah, I saw those.
Yeah, so and we were going to do plastic, but they didn't look so nice, so we're doing just hope it doesn't rain. But other than that, like I said, it's a fun thing to do. I think that in our local communities, like, we have to do what we can.
It's good to get involved in your local community. It really is, because that's what. And I mean, small towns in BC, that's what people do, right? And it brings people together, and because that's what you got. So
right. And you do a lot of that stuff out when we're in Vancouver too. I know you got a larger community out there, but I mean, you stand out in the crowd out there, and you do lots of
outreach, right? You're doing outreach. It's a form of outreach.
Yeah.
Letting people, bridging the gap, letting people know that I'm sure there's people that still have no idea where you are and that your service exists, even in your own community.
Well, absolutely. And I think that's why, we all do what we do.
Yeah.
And again, back to, what you've been doing over the years too with, your growing, and then, being on Pot TV and doing the awareness and just a lot of the growing tips, I think mainly, and then a lot of political stuff too, because you stand out with, saying, I'm not taking this anymore. And you have right from the get-go. Like, you've never complied. You're one of the ones that I followed myself personally, because, you were, above the crowd when it came to, saying, fuck you, I'm not doing this. You shouldn't have to do this. Stop Harper.
That's just because I'm a bit of an asshole.
Well, we love you for that, though, Mick. In reality, like, at the Mum Cup, we kind of got roasted, and nobody could even really roast you that bad, so you can't be that big of an asshole. Yeah. We couldn't even roast you bad enough. Right?
It's been fun. I mean, but I mean, as an activist, I mean, that was part of at the time, it was part of the gig, standing up and, I mean, you got to remember, I mean, when I first stuck my neck out, it was like pretty scary, but it didn't get cut off. So I went, oh, okay, I can get away with this. So I just, kept pushing that envelope a little further, and just to see how far I could go. But as one of the original Exemption 56ers in Canada back in 2001, that was like a get out of jail free card. So, that was very empowering, and would probably, gave me a little bit more sauciness to sort of stand out and say, oh, yeah, well, I got this card, and I'm going to walk around with a half a pound of pot.
Yeah, and I think that's, I think it did. It helped get the message out, because you could be louder, because you knew you could stand behind that, which then made more awareness, though, for other people, which brought more people into the program. And that's the best thing about it, is because they gave that, exemption to us, that we could be louder.
Well, it's interesting to see where we've come to in, what is it, 16 years. I received the medical marijuana became legal in Canada in 2001. And here we are in 2017, 16 years later. And next year, the government, the government's saying they are going to legalize it. And there's a lot of talk for whatever it is. Once it's legalized, like I say, things are going to change very, very very quickly. There'll be the research. There's extractions. It's just going to explode, and then you're going to have all the challenges to the proposed legislation, or the legislation that does get passed. So, and when you throw in, I'm not the only one out there that has the "go fuck yourself" attitude. So when you throw in, all the people in Canada that have that same attitude, I think change is going to come extremely fast. I think while some of us think that since, it's taken painfully long to get to where we are now, when you look at it, things have gone very quickly. We've had all those dispensaries that opened up here in Vancouver, 100 of them. over a very short time span, and not a very long time, in a few years, that ran basically unchecked and are still operating, mostly without licenses or business, actually they're in contrary to the city codes. This is what's going on. This is the acceptance level. You legalize this, where's that acceptance level going to go? And, people aren't going to want more restriction. They want it to that would most people feel it's more open. The government wants to legalize and go backwards. The proposed legislation is like, let's legalize it, but let's make it even harder than it is now when it's illegal.
I know. And
more, like you say, with everything from percentage of, THC percentages to ages to who sells it, all of it. So
I know.
That's basically a recipe for failure.
Yes.
That's not a realistic attitude. And it's definitely not what the majority of the cannabis community or citizens who use cannabis in this country, which is a huge percentage, not what they want. So you're going to have a lot of people just not really following the law. Just like people don't follow a lot of laws, like there's the anti-smoking law here. You can't smoke near a doorway. People are smoking all over the place.
Well, there's no one to police it. And that's the thing. Like, who's going to police all of this? And exactly. You got the police screaming for bigger budgets.
Selective policing. And I think, and that alone is grounds for legal challenge. That the law isn't applied equally. So like I say, there's just so many loopholes and look what's happened. They made first of all, cannabis has been illegal for decades. And look where we are today.
Yeah.
So you see my point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stop us when it was illegal. Now you're going to legalize it because you're going to try to control it. That's what they're doing. They can't control shit right now. I mean, it's a Wild West situation.
Yeah.
So there's like a gazillion dollars in taxes not being paid, for instance. So, I mean,
that's the bottom line.
No, but, of course it is. This has nothing to do with health or kids or anything else. It has to do with control. Control the market, absolutely. Control the money, and try to take back something that they've lost, because they've lost it all with their past approach. That it's clearly making harsher laws, keeping it illegal hasn't worked out. So they're finally figuring out maybe we got to go at it from a different angle. And this is the angle they're taking. But if, again, they're trying to take over something that is much bigger than anybody realizes. It's a global thing. It's as simple as drinking water or breathing. It's it's like people who, it's as simple as buying cigarettes, even easier in some people's minds. Because you don't have to deal with the government.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to go to a regulated store and line up and give me a pack of players to buy, No. They go to a dispensary and shop. They go online. They know a guy down the street. They grow their own. You see my point? This is good. They want to make it harsher? Good luck. And the cops are going to go, the cops are freaking because they're going to go, how are we going to police something that's legal?
They don't have a clue now.
Well, no, again, it'll only be selective.
He says to me, it's a gray area, he says.
Sorry, what's that?
I go, it's when the police were here the other day, he says, well, it's all kind of gray right now. Things are changing and we don't really know what's going to happen. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So in other words, if the cops aren't called or they don't have a reason to be talking to you, there's a pretty decent chance you could do whatever you want. Much like anything. As long as nobody calls the cops, you can do just about anything you want.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Or unless they get wind of it and then they come sniffing around. Like if you're growing so much pot and you dank out the neighborhood, well, somebody's going to call.
Well, yeah, but I mean, be smart about it if you're going to actually do it in your neighborhood. No, but there's so many ways now.
So basically, if you're not drawing attention and just minding your own business, there's a chance you can do just about anything you want. No one's ever going to say anything to you.
That's very true.
So when everybody's doing this, the cops, they don't care. If nobody's calling the cops because it's legal, less people are even going to make phone calls.
Absolutely.
So the cops are busy. They got other shit to deal with. So really, these laws are kind of stupid. It's there to be used it just to keep everybody down, so nobody gets to like get bigger or make more money or be an entrepreneur, so to say. They want to keep that selective. So they're forcing the rest of us to break the law, if you see my point. So really, this isn't legalization. This is, again, it's protectionism. Right.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break again, and we'll come back to that on that note of protectionism, because that's exactly true. And we'll take a break. So our next song is going to be my starting song, Coffee and Pot by the Lab Cats. Again, I'd like to thank my sponsors, who are 12 High Chicks Magazine, Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners, Mom Maritime Rich United for Medical Marijuana, the Hideaway 420 B&B, Candyman. We'll be right back.
Meal of the day. What's the matter? There's no prize in here. What? Well, that's just lame. I hate that. I remember in the 70s, there was a prize in each and every cereal box.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
You know what? I've solved that problem.
How'd you do that?
With this. The Supercharged Kit. Brand new from Rainbow Nutrients. Each and every Supercharged Kit contains 1 liter Grow, Blue, Micro, Velo Kelp, Magnifical, Astro Flower, and Nature's Candy. You also get a shot glass, a syringe so you can accurately measure your nutrients, a sticker, a feed chart, and a prize in every box.
Oh, yeah!
What'd you get?
I got a Remo Nutrients lighter leash.
Sweet. Hey, Mikey, he likes it.
Hey, I got keys in my Supercharged Kit.
I think those are mine. The Supercharged Kit is available at your favorite hydroponic retailer. Get yours today.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
It's easy feeling as long as you came. Dedicate by a minute intervals. Oh, I didn't notice the stalk getting full. But only with coffee and pie, chest, pie and coffee. I didn't think it'd ever come to a stop. I sink into the clever ways I'm writing. And in the mornings, all the things I forgot, they come back in tenfold. I'm in love with one alone. Only with coffee and pie, chance, that and coffee. Coffee and pie, chance, that and coffee. For me, don't think that I need something new. No. I give myself help all through the things that I do. I will not choose or to be fooled by the truth. Never again, so it's coffee and pie, chance, that and coffee. For me, 5 o'clock bottoms and we hit the stars. It's always booze that would steal you and sink inside my shoes. It's always put it up by the bottom, coffee's just how fast it sells. It's always booze that would steal you and love you abuse. It's always put it up by the bottom, God, just how fast it sells.
going, I hope they can't hear this dog snoring.
No, we're not on. We're in commercial.
Yeah, we're on now. So that's a good idea. We were just talking about the fact that when you're traveling and what can happen, and Mick and I were kind of was just kind of getting into the fact that he was gonna, forward it ahead so he didn't have to travel with it, because now we're only allowed 150 grams as it is. So if you're taking off for 5 weeks or even 2 weeks, that might not be enough to cover your prescription while you're out on holiday. So, with that being, summertime and people traveling a lot, there's probably going to be more and more, even now, because I'm out and, I know the police know that I'm always worried that when I jump in my car, they're just going to randomly pull me over to see if I'm impaired.
And the other thing is, I really couldn't care less, like I'm having a looks because, don't say that on the air. But, in a way, it's like, I really don't care, because if they're going to spend the time to follow me around and dig around in the post, I say more power to you. Let's waste more police time. Because I'll tell you, incidentally, there's a report coming out today from the Senate about the state of our justice system and the backlogs and how to deal with it. That's supposed to be coming out later today. So, by all means, let's waste more court time and more police resources chasing us over, organic matter over plants. If that's how they want to play, by all means, that's the old activist game. We've been doing that for decades. Let's waste police time.
Yeah.
And tie up the courts, and let's have lengthy court cases over bullshit if that's the way they want to play. So these are some of the things that that we have to be aware of, and this is even with legalization proposed. Corporate protectionism, as I like to call it. This is how the game still has to be played. We still have to. A lot of us are going to still think and act in the outside the law sort of scenarios, or outside of the regulations, because the regulations are just it's just protectionism.
I don't think anybody's going to change what they're doing. People have been doing the same things. They're not going to change it.
Well, no, lots of people are changing.
In some aspects.
You even said earlier, we know people who, switched into the LP game.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. They'll go the legal, but, there are those people out there that are just going to say, I'm not changing. I've been doing this for, 30 years this way. I haven't gotten caught. I haven't had any issues. I'm not going to go and set off the red flags and go and apply for a licensed production site, because then they're going to know I'm here.
Yeah. See, I'm not even going to sign up for the new program. As far as I'm concerned, as an original exemption 56er, I should just be grandfathered into anything I want. And as far as I'm concerned, I was still, I'm not buying from LPs. I'm not getting into that program.
No.
I've either grow my own or get pot from people I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know too many people. I don't need to go out and buy. I'm not going to, send away money to somebody so they can send me something that from what I've seen, I haven't seen any LP weed that I've been impressed with. And I certainly haven't heard any great stories about fantastic service, and I'm able to get anything I want when I want it. So, unlike those, that's not the same, can't be said for dispensaries that I know. Right. I can walk into one dispensary. If they don't have what I want, I can just go across to another one.
Yeah, that's very true. And when we were in Vancouver, that was one thing there was no lack of.
No, exactly. So that's the model that I'm going to subscribe to. Why would I even waste my time going to a doctor and seeing this and signing that and registering? And why? It makes no sense.
Right. And I don't blame you.
And if that goes away, well, then I'll probably go back to growing my own. And it won't be 4 plants 30 inches tall, I can assure you.
I don't know how they plan on regulating or even policing that. We had made a comment, were they going to put a measuring stick on the police's, pants now? Oh, here's your line.
I wish there was a way to measure when everybody read that, all the amount of people that automatically went screen of green.
Exactly.
Because, oh no, my plant will be under 30 inches tall. It'll just be like 36 inches wide. Or, it'll be in a 4 foot by 4 foot square.
Yeah.
I'm just going to grow it, in a horizontal instead of vertically.
Yeah, they have no clue what can be done. And that's,
Yeah, you just train plants to grow along a vine, or a fence line, man. I mean, you don't have to have them growing up straight. You can, grow a fence.
No, absolutely.
So, and if you got 4 foot square panels, and that's 4 plants, what is that, 18 square feet or something? Or I don't know. It's a lot of square footage of bud.
Yeah.
And it's really, and if you look up straw growing on the internet and read up on it, it's the most efficient use of space that you can possibly have to grow the most pot in the smallest amount of space possible. It started out with the sea of green, and then sea of green went to screen of green.
It can be done, and that's and very well and successful and with a lot of yield. So I don't know why that's one thing that people can look into. Like once they can have their 4 plants is straw growing and be able to produce as much as they possibly can in that small area. But again, how are they going to regulate all this? It just seems redundant to me. I'm in the same boat, brain space as you are. It's just like this is just a joke. But in hindsight, it's better than what we had before. 10 years ago, they weren't even talking about any aspect of anything. It was like, no, never going to happen. Yeah. So we have kind of come forward,
Exactly. I mean, we continuously move forward, but it's, I think it should be obvious by now that even though we're moving forward, I don't understand why we find it acceptable that we have to have this level of fighting, this level of back and forth of hassle to get changes with the government we elect that's supposed to be serving us.
Right.
I mean, so there's got to be an ulterior motive. And, well, obviously there is too, and that's the money, which is why the change is coming. The change is coming from money. It has nothing to do with, this is what the people want, or, the people have proven that it's not harmful. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with taking control, because obviously the approach of prohibiting marijuana didn't work. So now they've got to do something else. So they're going to change the way they approach it and say, we're going to control it, but we're going to legalize it. They're going to make it, so they want to make it look like they're doing what we want, but they're not doing what we want. All we're doing is complaining about what they're doing. In fact, we see what they're doing for what it is. They're trying to usurp our industry and take control of it and get the money. Yeah. If it wasn't for the money, if there was no money in marijuana, you think they'd be bothered legalizing it? No.
No,
they wouldn't care. It's always about the money. And they're justifying it with protecting the children. And that's how they've justified it to all of the anti-pot people, that they're protecting the children. Yeah. They're not telling us how great a job they're doing at legalizing. No, they are pandering to the anti-pot people.
Right.
They're not talking to us. They're not going, you guys, what do you want? What are we going to – no, here's what we're going to do for you. We're going to give you guys lounges. No, they're not talking to us at all. They're telling us, you guys are going to have to stay home and smoke in your house. You only got 4 plants. And they're just being like nasty to us. And at the same time, but don't worry, we're going to protect the children.
Yeah.
Like, go fuck yourself. That is not legalization.
No.
That is just another level of this prohibition bullshit game.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm tired of dealing with these people who say things like they're going to smoke it in toaster ovens. Like, how the person, are you insane?
I know. Pamela McCall, whatever happened to her and her group of Sam? Like, we haven't heard much from her lately, thank God. But
because she's scared.
It didn't work. Her campaign of lies didn't work.
She got she got outed. And then I think, and unfortunately, I mean, I don't agree with it, but she got some very nasty, threatening mail and phone calls and she's basically has the cops watching out for her. And yeah, no, she got threatened.
Wow.
Some idiot sent threatening mail, apparently, or phone calls. I'm not sure, but apparently I heard that, yeah, the cops are watching her shit, and that she's basically gone in, not into hiding, but she's definitely shut the fuck up. She's keeping a lower profile.
You know, I wouldn't. That saddens me to hear that somebody would do that.
Oh no! When I heard that, I was like, fully send her, like, a letter or whatever, but don't threaten her with physical violence or say stupid things like I'm going to break things or whatever. Right? That's just bad. Don't threaten people like that, especially not anonymously. That's really fucking cheap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're supposed to be peaceful, right? That's how we've tried to approach everything, even with our civil disobedience and stuff. We always say, please be peaceful and respectful and don't be violent. Like, that's one thing we don't want to be known for. So, geez, that's
no violence or threatening, no. But I mean, I'm not exactly the nicest guy. I still peaceful. No, I still like to yell and say, go fuck you,
Well, that's, but that's on a different level, Mick. Like, it's not threatening. You're not, in somebody's face.
I don't threaten, I'm not going to threaten people.
No, and you don't scream in somebody's face, and you're not that kind of a person either. So that's really disheartening. I mean, there's like I said, there's always loud, but there's being loud and to be heard, and then there's being loud to be violent. And that's you're not that guy. Wow, that's too bad. But in hindsight, I guess some people take things to the extreme.
Yeah. Wow.
But prohibition, is done. This is what prohibition has done. In hindsight, prohibition has led us all to this, end of it. But again, hopefully we'll be changing things. Hopefully they'll get it done quickly. I know they're in the second or third reading right now, and with this legislation, and it'll get done.
I don't think there's any question because again, we all know too of the heavy political involvement in the marijuana production with the LPs. We have a lot of ex liberal MPs, and we've got an ex premier of the British Columbia. Mike Harcourt is involved in an LP endeavor. I mean, we've got Rob Rablati, the Olympic skiers involved in an LP operation. So there's a lot of big name money that's attached to previous government and liberal insiders.
Yeah.
And Anne McClellan represents her law firm represents a number of these companies, and she was on the board to oversee, give recommendations or regulations.
Yeah, she's the CEO of the task force.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of, there's a lot of cronyism in there, and in my lifetime, the liberal parties, whether either under Jean Chrétien, Trudeau, or Justin's dad Pierre, there was a lot of cronyism through all those liberal governments. They were kind of known for that cronyism sort of thing, and
they haven't left.
And it's very clear that it's going on again with this so-called, protectionism racket, this marijuana protectionism racket that's erupting, that's starting out. And again, like I say, I am really looking forward to legalization, because it's going to be interesting to see the types of legal challenges that are going to pop up, because it won't be looking at it as a criminal defense anymore. It's going to be corporate litigation. Businesses are going to be suing governments over business or regulations and things, taking the governments to court, saying that, regulations are too restricted. We need to do, we have all this product we're having to throw out because it's not right. We're not making the money we should, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of that argument. So it's going to swing into a different sort of arena. And that is going to be more widely reported on in financial news and things like that. So this is where the game's going to open up.
Yeah.
Because the money is going to be funneling hard and fast.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is if every LP that's licensed today in Canada was growing as much pot as they possibly have the space for, they still would run out in probably 2 months in a legal system. They're not going to be able to supply all these Canadians with enough marijuana.
No, absolutely.
If it was only them, there was no illegal pot or so-called, contraband marijuana, they would run out in a matter of like weeks, and we'd all be sitting here with no pot.
Yeah, like the beer strikes.
Yeah, it's just they can't grow enough. They don't have the facilities. There's not enough square footage. If you add up everybody's square footage, there's still not enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like I say, things are going to change, and they will continue to change, I think, at a very, very, very rapid pace.
Yes. Well, that's the end of our time, my dear. I really appreciate you coming back onto the show, or coming onto the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So I'd like to thank you again, and is there anybody you'd like to say a shout out to, or anybody you'd like to,
Well, just look for future articles of mine in 12 High Chicks magazine at 12highchicks.com.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mick writes for 12 High Chicks too. Yeah, 12highchicks.com is our magazine. They're one of my sponsors as well. So look forward to doing that. Look forward to seeing lots more pictures and video while you're on your little mini tour around the West Kootenays. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
So if you want to
you can follow
keep watching
me on Instagram at Opus420. It's one word, just spelled out, Opus420.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for coming on. And we'll talk to everybody next week, Wednesday, 9 a.m. on lifestyleradio.net. Thanks, Mick. We'll talk to you next time.
Right. Ciao, Tamara.
Bye-bye. Radio.net. Thanks, Mick. We'll talk to you next time.
Right. Ciao, Tamara.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show